Okay, John, I gotta contact you about your George here. So, because you do have an opportunity to get either a free Digimic or Bluetooth mic. So I'm going to be sending you an email or a text message if I don't get back with you if I don't hear from you email by the morning, let's say. Then I'll just send you a text message in the morning and hope that I can get with you on that. So I can figure out which free mic you want. I'll let President know, and then they'll ship it off to you. So here's your new George. Appreciate that, and I'll be shipping this off to you tomorrow. So you'll be looking for probably seeing a tracking number as soon as I get it boxed up, maybe even still this evening. I think they're all going to go out UPS tomorrow, so I believe all the orders were all selected with USPS with the ground, which is the slower one. So however, I end up doing it with UPS, which is probably the saver, the ground saver, which in some cases UPS makes the final delivery, other cases USPS does. So I have no control over that as far as that goes, but UPS is a little more reliable in the tracking. So UPS will take the box and they'll use their ground system to get it to either themselves and make the final delivery with the ground saver option, or they give it to the USPS at the final destination point, like right at that post office, and then they make the final delivery to the customer. So it goes either way. It just depends. So I'm going to send a QSL card home with you with the radio. You'll get a free mic of your choice, Bluetooth or Digimic, and we'll get this radio out and get it going for you. I'll also throw in a President hat, brand new winter hat. Not that we're going to need it this time of year, really. Well, we still might be able to use it, but I'll throw that in too. A little bit of swag President gave me. So I'm getting kind of low on those. I've been shipping them out to some of my friends in the radio business and in the radio hobby and stuff like that. So, but I will include a hat. So I'll put that with the box. I'll put the QSL card with the box so I don't forget them. And we'll get your radio out and get it set up really quick. These don't take long. It's a really nice CB, and get it ready to go for you. Here is your radio right here. So what you'll find with these, it's basically, appearance wise, the same as the Washington in a lot of ways. This came out first. I actually have the European model. I have the George 2, which I like that radio a lot. I bought that one from Europe, so I wasn't given any special treatment or anything because I'm a President dealer. I had to buy it at retail price, so it is what it is. I like the radio a lot, so I love having it part of my collection. But I do like these as well, and I did run one of these mobile for some time, and I did enjoy it. But I ended up selling that one pre-owned, and I figure these are readily available. If I ever feel that I need one, I will snatch one up and have one, just like I kept the McKinley and the short-released McKinley 2 that President so kindly sent me for testing and whatnot. I kept that one, so I like to have radios like that, just to have them part of my collection. I even got one of those Harrisons in my collection that it seems like guys didn't really care for too much, but I think it's a cool little radio. I have respect for basic CBs. I mean, without these kind of radios, we'd have nothing. So, I'm just going to kind of set this up really quick how I would like to use it. And obviously, if you don't like it, you can change it. That's pretty much it. Yep, super easy menu to navigate. So these have the NOAA weather option where the Washington does not. So this has your NOAA weather, which in my case on my antenna, because I have a ginormous low pass filter hooked up on my remote antenna switch outside, we wouldn't hear anything really anyway. So let me find my President microphone here. We'll get this set up and I'll come back. So out of the box, you really can't complain about that. This is where we're at, channel 20. So it's right on frequency, and peak envelope power, about 3.5 watt carrier up to somewhere in the 20s at times. So she's got quite a bit of get up and go when it needs to. So, and I haven't even adjusted the modulation or anything yet. There was 30. So they definitely are not a slouchy radio. On the average RMS, whatever you want to call it, we're seeing a nice forward movement of about 5 to 6 watts at times, maybe less sometimes. You know, obviously it doesn't mean a whole lot to me here, but maybe to some it does. But it does okay. SSB is here. So here's your single sideband. This is where these radios really shine. And look at that current draw. I mean, it's barely even drawing 2 amps. For that amount of power, that's just outstanding for what this radio actually does. And that's where people really don't appreciate, I think, what these radios do. I mean, you're talking at 30 watts peak, you're basically 50 watts less than the Washington for those that would buy that radio and primarily use it on the CB band. You know, what's that extra 50 watts give you? Well, I don't know. I mean, this is doing 30, so you figure that one more S unit would be 120. So that 80 is you know, not really 120. So maybe it's a little stronger on the air, but not really. So, you know, obviously this is a really good performance CB right out of the box. So you can't really say that you know, you wouldn't find this in you know, other models and stuff like that. Like if you were to buy some old 1980s or 90s CB, it's not going to perform like this out of the box new, you know, or new old stock or whatever. So a lot can be said about how good these actually are for what they are. Now for the guys that say, well, it doesn't do this and it doesn't do that, well, it can't do that because it has to follow the, you know, strict requirements. And for whatever reason, I mean, if they tested this, which I know they did, it passed. But I mean, by rights, I mean, this thing kicks some serious butt for a CB radio. And I've always said that by far, for like a modern CB, this is the best of the best, and I still stand behind that. So there's nothing that's going to really come close to this. But let's go in and we'll adjust it a little bit. You know, for me, I really prefer this look, and I think that's why I kind of did this with this radio and put the black on it. I really think it decks out this radio so much more. But honestly, for me, I love this look. Is more professional radio look to me. It just, I don't know, it really just does something for me. You know, I can live with this look of this radio, but I just kind of, has everything I need. I don't care that it's a frequency counter. Again, I don't even need a frequency counter really at all on this type of a radio. Even on the Washington, I mean, I can see where I'm at, so I would have liked to seen it maybe on the Washington to have the frequency counter more here. But I mean, even at that point, it's still very usable. So everybody has a preference on what they like, and that's what makes the radio hobby fun, I think. But you know, I've always said this is a nice working radio, and the guys that have gotten them, I know they've really enjoyed them, a lot of the guys. And if it's not something that somebody enjoyed, I guess that's their own choice and stuff. But you know, if I had a choice between like this or the McKinley, I would take this every day of the week. It just way outperforms the McKinley. And I'm not saying the McKinley are bad or anything, but this is just a way more sophisticated and quality CB radio versus the McKinley. And I mean, it's cool to have both. McKinley's a cool little radio in its own right. It was a really good radio for its time. They're still on the market. They're still being sold, but you know, it's quite a bit less money and whatnot. So I feel like the advanced features that this has and stuff like that, and the performance, you get what you pay for. Okay, so when I do my testing, I always try to make sure that my power register in dBm kind of matches what we're seeing here. So that way we know that we have a good reference point. You know, and a lot of times when guys show you a spectrum analyzer, they don't specifically show like, okay, what's my power in relation to what we're seeing on the screen. And that's why, and I know I forget sometimes, but that's why I like to do that, because I feel like it's important to have this correlate to what this shows. So as far as that goes, that's why I do that. So hopefully that makes sense. Now I did turn this up to about 4.1 just because there could be a tolerance, obviously, that, you know, 4.1 is perfectly acceptable. 3.55 out of the box is, you know, it's fine too, but we're not talking about setting the world on fire here with a couple watts. There's 1 watt on low. Now we're going to do your FM mod. I'm going to set this to 2.1 or something, I think is what I can set it to. I have to check. Yeah, so they're told they have to keep it under 2, and it's at 1.9 something right now. So if we look up here, I got the max on the line 2.2. So I can adjust that a little bit. And I like just a hair over 2, like 2.1. And that's pretty much it. That's all you need to do there. So we've covered that. And then we'll come here, and here. Now we'll do the AM power settings. I'm going to set this up for AM mod because that'll be the next test that I do. But so remember, it was just a little under 4 watts before, and that's still what it is. So these are 35.5, 35.5. So that, again, you know, you just want things to be transparent and you want them to match. And that's what I've done. So, whoop, you can't even see. Whoops. So the maximum that you can set this radio to is about 4 watts. And that's exactly where it is. So, that's the most they let you go. So it's capped. Probably by the software was told to cap it at that much, and that's what it is. So you can't go any higher, which is fine. We really don't need to go any higher. The low modulation, that's actually the trick to these is I turn it down just a little bit more like that, and then that'll give us just the ability to have a little bit more modulation on the radio. And now we're ready to do our modulation check, so let's do that. AM, of course. And we'll come over here and see where we're at once I line this up. Now this is the low power side, so you know it's not going to be anything like blow you away or anything like that, but just want to make sure that it's where it should be. And it's about 86%. It looks really nice. These have an excellent waveform though. They just look outstanding when they're adjusted. And that's pretty much the extent of it right there. So it's about 95, 96%. We really can't ask for anything better than that. And that just looks, you know, fantastic. So that's good. So we started at about what, 0.9 some odd watts, and with the test tone our average power is about double that. And then our peak envelope power is about 3.1. So we'll go to the high power setting now, which is our 4 watts. Let's get that set up here. Go backwards a little faster. It's about right there. Send the tone. It's about 83% right now, so I can probably give that a little bit of a boost. That's a really tight, probably too much, but you can see it's saying 100%. I want to see how does that negative look. Yeah, I think it's a little bit of distortion, so I probably don't want to keep it like that, but I can just have a peek at it. Yeah, it's kind of caving in on itself. So I want to back that down just a little bit. It was the wrong way. That looks nice there. It's about 98 to 99%. That's perfect. You really can't ask for anything better than that. So let me start this over because I always lose my track there. Okay, I'll run the tone. And you can see how nice that looks there. So it is over 100% on the actual waveform itself. So that's the important thing. Again, these radios aren't going to like set the world on fire, but what they do have is a really good quality sound, and for communication, that's what you want. So now we're going to check the sideband, so let me get that set up. Okay, so from past experience with these, they don't need anything done adjustment wise. They work perfect. And with our two-tone, they do about 10 watts, which is right within the specification of what it should do under the test. So I'm assuming when they test it, this is how they professionally test it, which meets the requirement. 30. Now that's a true reading there. I know on the last video I said sometimes this thing, sometimes it just gives me a false reading, and I know that immediately based on past experience with certain radios, but this is the true reading of this radio. It's 30. And you're not going to find another radio on the market that's going to give you that value. I mean, this is one of the best ones for that. So, I mean, nice and round and linear, and it's doing exactly what it should. So, at the end of the day, it's just a really good performer. And people, I think they underestimate it because it doesn't do all the fancy stuff like, you know, its counterpart, the Washington and stuff like that. But so let's just show the radio now. Now that we have that 4-watt mark, again, it's not gonna like blow somebody's doors off with power or anything like that. But what you will see is a nice consistent, at least 4 to 5 to 6 times the carrier on peak envelope power, which is kind of like, you know, what the radio should do anyways, and that's exactly what it's doing. So we have this set to a little bit too narrow. There we go, make that run just a little bit faster. So that's how it looks on AM right there. So obviously it's well within the range of one channel. I'm not going to span it out because there's no need. And then again on single sideband, we are taking up between 3 and 4 kilohertz, which is about perfect. We don't really need to take up any more bandwidth than that. And again, the radio is still doing every bit of, you know, 20 to 30 watts, just like it did before. So you do have the adjustable RF power on this radio, and you can turn it down while you speak. So there's level 5. So now at level 5, you can back it down. You can see the radio does about 50% less. So really, if you wanted to meet like specification with voice, you'd probably want this level 3. Here's level 4. Let's try it there. So probably about level 3 or 4 is going to put you right in. But I mean, nobody's going to care if you're running this or with the radio all the way up. It's super clean. You're never going to bother anybody. On a radio like this, I mean, if this is all you're going to run, like in a mobile or something, you might as well just run it all the way up. So that way you can just give it everything you can. You're not going to hurt the radio at all. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to put the antenna on it real quick and we'll just have a listen. Yeah, 43 World Radio 911, World Radio 5189 Michigan, waving a hand right back. QSL?
Radio 5189 Michigan, waving a hand right back, buddy. Good signal, 5 and 9, and don't play close with Tassie.
Hey QSL, I appreciate that. I have you 5 and 7 into Michigan here. We're about 60 miles north of Detroit, over. Alright, my friend, well, you have a good one over there. Hope your day's going well. I'm going to get out of here and say 73. I appreciate you coming back to my small station here in Michigan from World Radio 5189. All the best.
Radio 5189, Radio 911, 73.
Yep, cheers to you, 73. Well, that's a good one. I was just saying on the last...
5189, sounds good. East Idaho back to you, 810.
Oh yeah, 810, appreciate it, man. This is one of those George FCCs by President.
Sounds good out here. You got to sell the signal, great audio. Jim, East Idaho, 810.
Okay, Jim, yep, you're sounding fantastic back to me too there. All the best to you, and I'll say 73. You got good audio yourself there. Yep, 73. You got operator Mike over here.
Okay, Mike. Bye-bye, Jim.
There you go. That's what it's all about. The audio, people like good audio, and these radios definitely have that. But that's what I was saying. I wanted to try to get Australia, so I just got them. As far as that goes, I think that's a win. So, you know, but I have a good antenna, and it's very high up in the air. It's about 66 feet up in the air. So antenna makes a lot. It really does. But we'll get this one off to you, and I'll definitely message you about the free microphone. So hopefully you enjoy it when you get it. 73.